Hello, everybody. This is June the 9th. This is the usual Kubeflow Model Registry bi-weekly call. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded, and these meetings adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct that you can find in more details in our meeting agenda, just for the purpose of everybody who may watch the recording. This is an agenda item, an agenda breakdown that is available for you. So it's open for comment by anybody. So if you have any item that you want to bring to this community call, you are more than welcome to do so. We are doing this Kubeflow modality every bi-weekly, but as well, there are very interesting call that happens on Tuesday for the Kubeflow community. So for today's agenda, we have a usual sort of like a rundown of some of the activities that have been sort of like going on. And I invite you to, for everybody, they can check the recording in the previous playlist, which is shared in the Kubeflow community YouTube channel. So you can find all the recordings over there. For today, also, by the way, we are using the Google Meet bridge to meet, but eventually we are transitioning into the Zoom CNC hosted by the given to us by the Kubeflow community. So you can expect that at a certain point we will migrate to this Zoom call. So for today, what I thought to go through is some of the previous items that we are working on. One that is very of prominence and attention in the community of Kubeflow is the steps required for graduation. And that involves, among other steps, to work on completion for the badge. So there is a tracker issue. This is the one that I'm currently showing on the screen. And we're breaking it down into the several answering that we needed to do for this Kubeflow badge. We are currently standing at 85%, 81%. So it was a good progress since the previous call. So thanks for everybody that have participated in the different issues. I want to call out really Alessio, and I want to call out De Barati, Luca, and Federico from the QE folks that have contributed to that one. I know that also the QE folks have sort of like are looking into contribute a puzzle that will help us to improve on the on this percentage. But again, as you can see, there are still some open items. So if you wanted to get involved, so for example, for the security, there are some checkboxes that that we are still going through. So anybody is free, not only, of course, to take the, I would say, as more higher priority, the things that are missing, but as well, if you are spotting something that you think you want to complement, this was, for instance, what Alessio given me a feedback on. So we can go and always update the badge to reflect for more comprehensive answers, so that sort of like we are maintaining in this badge the information that is required. As you can see, we went into details for, I think, for some of them, to really document the process that we're following, so that we anticipating questions will be good. Just as a reminder, and this is as well what the direction that we've been given from the Kubeflow community is, that we are aiming to target to what satisfies the requirement. So of course, improvement on top of that are more than welcome, but our goal here is to try to nail down all these questions with the sort of like the minimal set of answers that will satisfy the requirement. So I just want to call out, because the Kubeflow community leads are very putting this as a mandate, or sort of like a general direction, a rule of thumb. Of course, if while we are at it, we can spot some improvement, like we did, for example, we documented in more details the release contribution process. We've done it with an improvement cycle, and we can always continue on that one. So that is for the tracker. So again, if anybody's interested, please feel free to check out the issue 719. It's broken down into several steps. You can, in my opinion, look into any of the ones that are still unanswered if you want to contribute more, or in the one that we've answered if you think that we've missed out on any details. Moving on the community graduation task, for example, one of the things that we are coordinating is that there must be a common set of responsible disclosure for CVEs that we want to offer to the users. So for this one, rather than sort of like using the one in GitHub, the Kubeflow community leads are looking into using something like a HackerOne platform. So for that one, we are holding on because eventually we will need to all converge to that one. So there are some things that need coordination. And if you're interested to know more, there are likely more tasks incoming. And this happens to be discussed during the during the call that happens on the Tuesday. So during the community call, every other week, the focus is going to be the graduation for Kubeflow. That, by the way, little parentheses, they are targeting to do it for the KubeCon NA. So sort of like this is something that will take some activity during our summertime. Next, one thing that people have been asking for a lot are the Kubeflow Model Registry logo. So I just want to publicly also thanks Andre for following this up with the CNCF and all our folks from the UXD and UI teams for providing information. You can follow more in the Slack thread. So there are the logos that are being provided to us so that eventually we can have a logo to add ourselves here in the main landing page, and also for the UI to take on the logo. So I think that I just wanted to call out that there was progress also in this area. Next, this is also in part for the, before I continue to moving on with new items, if anybody has any additional comment or feedback, please feel free to raise your hand or to add it to the agenda item. I'll just give a couple of seconds if anybody has any questions or want me to drill down into more details. All right, like the release team, it's like going with the flow as usual. All right, so with the Kubeflow adopters, this is also part for the graduation. So we are welcoming, if you are using Model Registry in your organization, to invite people to contribute to the adopters files. This is what the adopters files looks like right now. So this is open for pull requests. So if you are watching this video and you are a user and you are in your organization experimenting with Model Registry or you are using Model Registry, please feel free to send a pull request and to add it here. As well, if instead you are a contributor already to Model Registry and you're helping out some user, maybe in some Slack channel or in some GitHub issues, don't hesitate to point them after the issue has been resolved to this file if they want to contribute. Of course, this is sort of like open, so there is no sort of like obligation to do so, and we are not expected to raise the PR on behalf of others. So if you know somebody that is using Model Registry, please feel free to point them here. Or as well, there is a main general Kubeflow adopters file. And this is things that finally with the Kubeflow community, we have progressed with having all the component adopters files and some general high-level Kubeflow platform adopters. This is something that will become interestingly important as we're moving towards graduation. Are there any questions about this adopters file? Curiosity? No? Okay, so I'll just sort of like help. Just friendly reminder, you have a homework. If you spot any users of Model Registry, please invite them to contribute to the adopters files. And finally, just a reminder about what we already started to work on as well for the Kubeflow 1.11 roadmap. So just call out to previous Kubeflow biweekly Model Registry call. So we are working on the model catalog. We are working on the removal of Google MLMD project that we wrapped. So this is our current roadmaps, and this is meant to be a high-level radar of what we will be working towards for the 1.11. As you can see, for example, the badge, this is what we are progressing on. I know that we are progressing. So Paul had a good, I think it was two bi-weekly ago for the model catalog. So we having this one here displayed in the tracker. We have the removal of MLMD. Also, Alessio did some good explanation and drill down in some preview model registry bi-weekly call, so you can find the recording for anything there. But this is what we are looking forward to keeping our track for the 1.11. As we will approach the 1.11 progress, we will be asked, so myself and Addison will be the liaisons on reporting back on actually what we are sort of like, what's the word that I'm looking for, that we are converging for in the time for the release. I see here is the hand, Ramesh.
Hey, Matthew, I was just wondering, what is the timeline that 1.11 that the team is looking at?
So there is some discussion in the release team meeting because typically that is done for the KubeCon NA timelines. So it's like October, but it means actually way earlier because if you need to be for release, sort of like typically happens some code freeze much earlier. The point that is being discussed, however, is that there is still an open question whether we want to have, as a Kubeflow community, Kubeflow release 1.11 to signal the adoption into CNCF, the graduation into CNCF. So there are still sort of like, there is no fixed date at the moment. That's the sum of it. But my advice here, like it has been with previous releases, is that to the release team, we've communicated that as usual, we are doing a periodic release of the software. So that is not only to incorporate a smaller feature or bigger capabilities, that the one that we just discussed and we are talking on the screen, and also the periodic updates. So this has been also been very much appreciated by the Kubeflow platform working group. So we will continue on this release cadence. I think that the question that they will ask is like, what are the themes, the topics that Model Registry working group wants to aim for the 1.11 release later this year. And then we will need to communicate on the progress, so to say, when it will time for the code freeze, as they call it. These are the features that we have concretely dropped. I know that it doesn't fully answer your question, Ramesh, but that's the best answer that I have at the moment. I hope it's helpful.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if it is October, even if we backtrace it for RC1s and stuff they do, I can see somewhere in August, right? That's, I would say, August, September, beginning of September timeframe is what, based on our last two release experiences, that's where it would fall under. So I'm just trying to see how good we are to deliver on those things, and let's see.
I think that they are looking for the feature freeze specifically August 18.
Okay, yeah, that will help.
So, but this is not a confirmed timeline.
Right.
That's a key important thing that I want to highlight. And just sort of like very rule of thumb, to me, keeping the higher priority of sort of like progressing on the capabilities that we are doing anyway, and keeping at this moment of more attention the graduation requirements is what is important at this stage.
Yeah,
right?
Agree.
Right. So for those that are interested to know more, there is the Kubeflow release team meeting that happens just before this bi-weekly. And sort of like the thing that is being discussed is that indeed this is the provisional timeline. But as you can see, it's like we are working now in theory for the preparation. The release cycle would start on 16 to document for it. So to me, the key point is actually to keep in mind the graduation, because it seems to me that the KSC is more prioritizing on that one. Hope this helps. Right. One thing that things that are of, I would say, also kind of like not to kill lose track of it. Mike, if you can please relay, or Julia, I don't know, please relay to Lucas, is that the enablement of the model registry by default in the example, that will be likely be asked as part of our roadmap. So for that one, I think that, and thanks Dheeraj for also adding to the conversation issue there. I think that if we can have in the example installation, the example for the public model registry, we should aim for that solution and document how people can use this public model registry in the example installation, and document how to add users, how to offboard user of the public model registry if they so want it. I think that this is something that we should not have it lose it in the cracks of the work ongoing.
I see. Okay, yeah, we can tell Lucas.
Thank you so much. Lucas said that I don't know who is more following on this activity. The others basically are capabilities that if we can actually sort of like achieve the MLMD removal, if we can achieve the model catalog by those days, and or shortly after, I think it will be very beneficial. But again, I do not want to sort of like commit to those as part of the yes, it will be for sure, because anyway, it's not what we are being required of. What we're being required of at this stage is to communicate what is our intention to work towards for, and then at a certain point nominate when it comes to the feature freeze. These are the things that we did, right. So that it's clear.
The only another one I really, if there is one next priority item, I think I would encourage is the deploy model from UI. I think that would be our first use case to really bring the benefits of the UI on the model registry. I think that's what I would definitely look into after the enablement, defaultly enabling it.
Let me see. This looks, I didn't remember that.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, this is a cool one. So that one definitely. This one really important. So you said this one just after this one.
Yeah.
So yes. So
catalog probably is next.
Say that again, please.
Catalog.
Yeah.
Model catalog. Yeah, you got that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there are a couple of those. So.
Are they duplicates?
Yeah, I think that maybe there are some duplicates, because one was an RFEs and one was a tracker. So it's just, I will eventually reconsolidate.
Okay.
Anyway. All right.
No way to create like a hierarchy like Jira.
You can do in some
tasks, yeah.
But I'm not sure. Yeah, anyway, I will offline sort of like see if I can make this one sort of like fold back into this one, so that sort of like we have in a way.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. So sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. All righty. So this is for the roadmaps. I don't have any other item to be discussed for these working group updates. Not sure. Ramesh, do you think I'm missing on anything?
No, I think that's good. And, I mean, if other folks have anything that they are working on that they want to give, any updates / what they're looking at. That would be great to use this time to.
Something quick to add. So with the Kubeflow SDK being developed and worked on, it's definitely something we would want to also kind of start prioritizing, adding our endpoints or however we want to discuss doing the like linking to the Kubeflow SDK, just so we can be one of the earlier providers or components that are using it.
Do you want to write a proposal for that, Sydney, and put it into our GitHub issues there and see, maybe attach it to the whole Kubeflow SDK?
We can. We'll wait a little bit just to see how they're developing out one of their first components that will fit into the SDK, and then we can kind of take that as inspiration.
Okay. I mean, at least the kind of work you are doing in there, I think from that perspective, you want to put a GitHub issue and maybe take one up, next community meeting opportunity to present to us what you've been doing there. That would be great.
All right, that sounds good.
And also to hear that, because when we had the original discussion in the Tuesday call, they wanted to limit the Kubeflow SDK mainly for the training purposes at the moment. So I'm glad to hear that maybe now there is a space to add and plug in our components. Typically as well, we have already the Model Registry Python client, so it will sound like very much beneficial to provide it as a provider or sort of like an SPI that they can integrate with that client. What do you think, Sydney?
Yeah, that's what I think we should see how they're doing it, because I know they might have like a client for their other components, but I don't know if they're going to use like the actual client component, or they're going to just do REST API calls to kind of keep it clean. So I don't know that part yet.
It's fine that we don't know yet. The only thing that I would avoid is to avoid ending up with the two clients.
Yeah.
Because
oh yeah, that's true.
That's the only thing that I would sort of like encourage to avoid, because what they wanted is like doing like a Kubeflow SDK, get me a Model Registry client in their SDK. So for me, that one can just give back to them the client that we already have. And if the question is, okay, but we want the code somehow, somewhere, then that code could very likely be like a provider that sort of like reuses our client library so that we can surface there all the things needed. My bottom point would be to say, I would avoid a situation where sort of like, given the open API endpoint, open API contract, we generate the client in our repo because we need a Model Registry Python client, and they do the same things as well in their own, so that methods end up being kind of like, you're using a Model Registry Python client from the SDK, it's like slightly varied from the user experience than what we have for the Model Registry Python client. Does it make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then it's like we can see eventually is like if there are any sort of like other requirements that there are emerging there, so that if they needed somehow, we needed to have control on some parts, then definitely there are areas that we can best evaluate how to integrate most properly. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Keep us posted, Senior. Thank you so much for bringing this up.
Yep, no problem.
I didn't do it at the beginning because there was quite a long flow from the previous call as well. So if there is anybody new to the call that want to introduce themselves, please feel free to do it. Typically, I do it at the beginning of the meeting, but today they were sort of like I needed to jump off from the previous call. So if you want to introduce to the community, please take the time. The floor is yours.
I guess I could jump in. Yeah, most of you on the call know me, but Mike Turley, I'm a senior engineer on the OpenShift AI dashboard team at Red Hat. Started getting involved here because I'm trying to onboard to be part of the process to port Model Registry and related features upstream to Kubeflow. So yeah, mostly just here listening today.
Welcome, Mike.
I can jump in too. Hey, everyone. Also, most of you probably know me. I'm Yulia Krimmerman. I'm also a senior engineer on the dashboard team and working closely with Model Registry. So I'm happy to join the community and start contributing and learning. So happy to be here.
Thank you, Julia. Welcome.
I'll introduce myself real quick. I'm Kevin Howell, staff engineer on the OpenShift AI platform team, starting to help the Model Registry team out a little more. So I'll be joining this call regularly.
Thank you, Kevin. Welcome.
I'll go next. I'm Claudia Alphonse. I'm a senior engineer on the dashboard team, closely working with Mike and Yulia. So I just came to hear what's going on in the model Kubeflow community.
Well, great to have you, Claudia. Thank you. Super. I think we are definitely, it seems like turning a page on the, at least on the, I mean, we have lots of UI development already being going on. With the 1.10 release, I see it's a huge influx of contributors coming in. I really do see this is taking shape into a huge contributions in coming months. So I'm really excited to see what that will bring.
Excellent, and indeed a +1 to that. So with that, we don't have additional items. So if anybody has any last minute item that they want to add, I'll go with the usual rounds of going once, twice, 3 times. All right. So thank you so much for the participation. Again, please feel free to add your agenda item to the next call if you want, if you have something that you want to bring to the community. And just a friendly reminder to anybody, every Tuesday there is the community call. It alternates in between community call and graduation. That's usually a good place to sort of like a hub of information for everything Kubeflow. And with that one, good evening or good day or good night, wherever you are. All right. See you the next one. Bye.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.